Hi, Lindy here, and thank you for watching my video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Today I'm going to show you how I put the tulip squares together to make this tote bag. I've made two videos. The first part is the tutorial on how I crocheted the tulip granny square, and the second part is on assembling the tote lunch bag. So naturally the size and color of the bag is your decision. You may want to gauge the size by what is going to go into the bag. So in this video you're going to see how I assembled this tote lunch bag. I begin by sewing them together in pairs, right sides together. Always pin the squares in place to keep them from moving around while sewing them. I use a large darning needle and a simple whipping stitch to sew them on the wrong side. Then sew the thread back and complete the row in the opposite direction. At the end of the row, double secure the thread and leave it hanging loose to sew the other side later. So these have been sewn together in pairs. We're now going to sew them together in one piece for the back. And then this is the front, which has already been sewn. Once sewn together, you want to be able to see the stitching outline of each square. Try to make sure the corners of each square lines up. So this is the bottom of the bag, and these are the stripes I've done up the side. I've used these 4 colors, and I'm keeping the pink and the blue for the top stripes. I started with one single row, and then I did a double crochet and a single all the way up in stripes, evenly in the same color sequence. So I'm now going to start on this side, and the way I do it is I keep all these extra pieces to sew back the sides, but I'm going to show you how I crochet in the actual edges. So all we need now to make these rows is a crochet hook and a pair of scissors, because we're not going to use the darning needle to sew back. I'm going to start my first row, which is the lilac, on the wrong side, and I'm going to start with a row of single crochet. So we're going to go in, I'm going to pull this along here, and this will prevent us from having to sew back these loose threads in a less bulky way. So we're hiding the thread and we're sewing it back. Now I want to go into the hole. Looks nicer. And then after a few stitches we can actually trim off that thread because it's been worked all the way back. So we cut off this thread. This is really when you do whatever suits you. There is no right and wrong here. Just you giving it a bit of individual treatment, making it an individual item. And I want 15 stitches here. That's your first. Now, when you come to the stripes, you can do what you like here. I have left the pink and the blue stripe for the top of the bag, so I haven't put it into here because I'm not sure if I'll have enough yarn for that, and I wanted to make it slightly different. But you could do just single crochets, you could do just double crochets. The style is your own. You could actually let the one color go into the next row and start the color in the middle and make it less even. We've done our one row of single crochet. The other side we're now going to, which is on the right side of your work, we're going to start the double crochet. And then we continue into the stitches. Just make sure you have 15 afterwards. When you get to the end, you sew right up to the end because you want to keep this line as straight as possible, which makes it easier to sew everything back. So now at the end, we again only need to cut off very little thread, and we're going to pull that through. Okay, now the next color after the lilac is yellow. So we're going to take our yellow, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work around. It's short thread, as we said, and we'll put it in here, and we'll go round, holding it tightly in your finger, and then secure it, and then take the lilac as well, and we're going to weave it in as we did before. If you find that's too awkward, then you can just trim it and weave it back. But this is such a lovely way to hide it. And we just keep pulling the two threads, and we go around it. And then you can just pull that along. Okay, and we're just doing a single crochet now. The first row is always single crochet, and the second row is double. And when you still have a little bit sticking out, I like to pull that, but not too tightly. You want to hold and pull the two together so it's straight. Then we take our scissors, we cut off those two threads. So now we continue with our single crochet right up to the corner. And then we make 2 chain stitches. We turn the work around to start on the other side in double crochet. We're repeating the color scheme through it. And this is going to be the bottom of our bag. This is how the side panel will fit between the front and back panels, with the bottom 2 squares. We're going to start by putting right sides together, as we always do. And then we will pin this in position. And then we pin the other side, the far end, in position. and I worked out that there are 5 rows for each square, because we want to try to get the lines in the same position. We're going to sew on the wrong side, picking up the outer thread of the square and neatening as much as we can against this one. So we'll find a line that we'll work down. I'm actually going to start with this one. And every now and then just doubling up on your stitches to secure it, so if the thread does break, it doesn't unravel. Make sure that the end of this and the corner meet to give it a nice clean line. So you sometimes have to just improvise a little bit to get them in line. And then I'm actually going to sew this back a little bit. We're going to continue down this side. We've sewn down the edge here now on the wrong side, and you can see on the right side we can see the edging of the tulip granny squares. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sew the other side. So we put this like that, and I'm going to start by sewing the bottom. So we've got these long threads, so I'm going to use this yellow one to sew across the bottom there, and this pink one to sew across the bottom there. And once I've sewn that, I'll meet you back here. So now we've sewn down the bottom, and now we're going to do exactly as we did on the other side. We're going to sew up the side. So we've now sewn the 2 sides and the bottom, and now we're going to sew this on here onto here and the 2 sides and make it into a bag. By putting the right sides together, and then we're going to sew all the way down. So we're now at the end of finishing off our bag. There we have the front, the side and the back, and another side, and here we have the bottom of it. So the last step is to put this side against this back, sew it up, and then attach the bottom. And I'll meet you once that is done. I'm going to make a row of single crochet around the bottom of the bag. And we're going to do single crochet. So there's the little edging. So we're going to make this little edging all the way around the bottom. And now we're going to do this last bottom piece. I'm keeping this little line of the tulip square visible as we did over here. So now we're going to do the tote handle in the pink and the blue in stripes around the top. We're going to begin with a single crochet on the edge. Here we have completed the first 2 rows of single crochet. So we've done these 5 rows of pink and blue single crochet at the top of the bag. We now need to put in our handle. So we're going to change to the blue yarn. So we're going to balance them on each side. We're going to make 40 chain stitches for the handle. So here's your corner, we need to get it in line with that. Make sure we keep this straight. You don't want this to twist. And we're going to then put it over here onto this one. And then we're going to continue with the blue stitching. We've done a row of single crochet in the blue. Now we've got ourselves to that part. I'm going to do another 40 chain stitches, loop it to there, and then I'm just going to keep going around here in the blue and pink pattern, and I'll show you when I get to the end. And because I've just got 2 yarn colors, what I've actually done is I'm not going to cut it and weave it back. I'm just leaving it here inside and just pulling the yarn up each time. So now we're going to change to the pink, and I will keep the blue attached. You can see the little stitches there. Here's the completed bag. I want to show you how to sew that off now. So to finish off this last row, start by threading your needle, and we're going to take it into the loop, and then we're going to pull that loop so that it's the same pattern as your thread. We then can just go into this next loop and pull it tight, so it's quite a nice invisible stitch. We then go into the next loop and just work your way down here, trying to keep it as invisible as possible. So I'm just doing it backwards and forwards, and then when you feel it's nice and secure, you can just go to the back of your work, which is the inside of this bag, and you can just pick up a few stitches here. Just make it nice and secure. And then I like to go the opposite direction to make it even more secure. And we can just finish it off. And then we'll do the same with the blue. So we're going to work this blue back. At the end of this video, I have provided a link which shows you the tutorial on how I crocheted the Tulip Granny Square. My name is Lindy, and thank you for watching my channel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more in my series on handmade bags, please be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of them. Thank you and take care.